Aside from being a therapist, I am a media consultant, which means news stories that have to do with trauma or natural disasters, and looking at the psychological impact of people, animals, children, anything that has to do with PTSD, crisis, or trauma. I'm your girl. Today I'm going to be interviewed about the wildfires in Southern California. And since I am from LA and the fires have been all around us, and I mean all around us, I have a little bit to say about especially the psychological impact of children and the wildfires. Sometimes people think that the impact is just about the people who lost their home or the children that also lost their home, which is devastating and awful. But also there's vicarious trauma, which is that these kids go to school, they have neighbors, they have friends, extended family. So many people are affected by the wildfires. First of all, the physical impact. Can we just talk about the medical impact of the wheezing and the asthma and the ashes and the air quality? It's frightening. And so all our kids need to make sure that they're checked out with their doctor to make sure that they're breathing correctly and feeling as healthy as they can. Then you want to look for PTSD, trauma, and you want to look for symptoms to see how they are doing. So yes, I care all about the adults, and I have patients that have lost their homes, unfortunately, but we also have to talk about the children and what it is doing to them. So whether they have been directly affected or vicarious trauma with their students and everything, you want to look for specific symptoms that look for trauma. So you want to look for changes in eating and sleeping patterns. You want to look for how they're playing. Are they playing? Has their play changed? You want to look for themes and patterns, and especially in their play, you might want to see withdrawal, if they're withdrawing, or you might want to see if they have increased their aggression, mood swings, irritability. You want to see, looking at their art, looking if they're drawing out what they saw. With art therapy, sometimes we make books and we say, tell us the story beginning, middle, and end. And so they'll draw pictures of a pretty house, and then they'll talk about, fiery flames. It's like whatever they saw. But also these kids are looking at the news, or their parents are talking about it. So wherever you go, even in public, somehow, somewhere, kids are picking it up. So if they haven't been directly affected, there's still some children that can be, like I said, vicarious trauma. And you also want to look to see if the children are peeing in their bed. Are they acting more anxious than usual, fidgety, distracted? It could look like behavioral problems, could look like anger, but it's way more than that. There's so much more going on. So you want to make sure that you get them a play therapist and a really good person who specializes in trauma and crisis. So I always talk about the stages of trauma and crisis. So the first one is shock. These families, whether you've been directly affected or it could be, again, someone who is vicariously affected, they have friends or family that have lost their home in the fires. You want to pay attention to, after the shock, it goes to acute stress. And that can be feeling really anxious and nervous, and really, it's profound. It's just unbelievable. You cannot believe that this is happening. So your brain is trying to process in the acute stress. Then after 2 weeks, it goes into PTSD, which is where the kids will have possible nightmares, bedwetting. You're going to see some aggression. Again, difference in eating and sleeping patterns. And so what you want to do is you want to normalize. You want to check in with their feelings and let them know that they're not alone, that it's okay. Something really scary happened. You want to validate them. You want to reassure them you're not alone, that this is happening in the world. And the other part is that you want to share that there's help. And so a lot of kids in their play are pretending they're firefighters. They are, making pictures of putting out the fire. So you want to empower them to focus on the strengths and how we can help them to feel safe in time of devastation. Coping skills would also include mindfulness skills. So you want to help kids to, and parents, to breathe, to be hanging on to their animals, to do volunteer work, to do donations, or to make cookies for the firefighters. Anything that will help make, you can make posters, pretty pictures of the new house that families will be rebuilding. It's been a lot, you guys. I'm from LA, and we have all been affected. So if you can imagine being a therapist, holding space to take care of our mental health and then be ready to help others. It's been a lot. Because I specialize in first responders, it is so important that we as therapists have our own mental health in check. Again, mindfulness techniques, CBT, which is really being aware of how high your anxiety is. So sometimes we do scaling from 0 to 10, 10 being the worst. And, where are you on the line? You want to make sure that you're getting healthier, that you're feeling better, that you're using those mindfulness techniques, connecting with nature. A lot of people at this time, of course, have faith or have lost faith. So all of that is important. And if you need help, reach out to a therapist who specializes in trauma and crisis, especially children. We can help.